direct investment. This chapter examines another significant form of international business, foreign direct investment. Again, we are concerned with the patterns of foreign direct investment and the theories on which it is based. We also explore why and how governments intervene in foreign direct activity. This chapter objectives are to describe worldwide patterns of FDI and reasons for these patterns. Describe each of the theories that attempt to explain why foreign direct investment occurs. Discuss the important management issues in the foreign direct investment decision. Explain why governments intervene in the free flow of foreign direct investment. Discuss the policy instruments that governments use to promote and restrict foreign direct investment. Foreign direct investment is the purchase of physical assets of a significant amount of the ownership of a company in another country to gain a measure of management control. It differs from portfolio investment, which is an investment that does not involve obtaining a degree of control in a company. Most governments set the threshold for an investment to be called FDI at anywhere from 10 to 25% of stock ownership in a company abroad. The U.S. Commerce Department sets it at 10%. Patterns of foreign direct investment. As shown in this graph, FDI inflows grew by about 30% through the 1990s. FDI peaked at $1.4 trillion in 2000, slowed for a few years, and then rebounded in 2004, 2005, and 2006, and reached an all-time high of $1.9 trillion in 2007. Reasons for FDI growth. The two main drivers of FDI flows are globalization and international mergers and acquisitions. Globalization. Companies got around trade barriers in the 1980s through FDI. You get around of the General Agreement on Tariffs on Trade further cut trade barriers, letting firms produce in the most efficient locations and export to markets. This set off further FDI into newly industrialized and emerging markets. Globalization also lets emerging market companies use FDI. Mergers and acquisitions. Mergers and acquisitions and their rising values propelled long-term growth in FDI, but are falling off lately due to global credit crisis. Power of largest multinationals seem to multiply each year. This graph shows that annual worldwide FDI inflows rise and fall from year to year, which tend to follow the health of national economies. Many cross-border merger and acquisition deals are done to get a foothold in a new geographic market, increase a firm's global competitiveness, fill gaps in companies' product lines in a global industry, reduce costs in R&D, production, or distribution. Entrepreneurs and small businesses also engage in FDI and account for more of its growth. Worldwide flows of FDI. More than 82,000 MNCs with more than 810,000 affiliates drive FDI flows. In terms of share of global FDI inflows, developed countries account for about 57%, and developing countries account for about 37%. The European Union, United States, and Japan attract the vast amount of world FDI inflows. FDI inflows to developing nations were mixed, with China attracting most in Asia and India attracting a fair amount. Outflows of FDI from developing nations are also on the rise. Let's now investigate the four main theories that attempt to explain why companies engage in foreign direct investment. International Product Life Cycle Theory. The International Product Life Cycle Theory states that the company will begin by exporting its product and later undertake foreign direct investment as the product moves through its life cycle. In the new product stage, stage 1, a good is produced entirely in the home market. In the maturing product stage, stage 2, a good is produced in the home market and in markets abroad that are large enough to warrant production facilities. In the standardized product stage, stage 3, a company builds production capacity in low-cost developing nations to serve its market around the world. Yet, the International Product Life Cycle theory does not explain why companies choose FDI over other forms of market entry. Market imperfection theory. When an imperfection in the market makes a transaction less efficient, a company will undertake FDI to internalize the transaction and remove the imperfection. In a perfect market, prices are as low as possible and goods are easily available. Flaws in the efficient operation of an industry are market imperfections. One type of imperfections is trade barriers. A trade barrier, such as a tariff, is a common market imperfection. Firms undertake FDI when market imperfections are present. Another type of imperfections is specialized knowledge. A unique competitive advantage may consist of specialized knowledge, technical expertise, or special marketing abilities. Companies charge fees for product knowledge, but when a company's specialized knowledge is embodied in its employees, the only way to exploit an opportunity may be FDI. A company may undertake FDI if charging another company for access to its knowledge might create a future competitor. Eclectic theory. The eclectic theory states that firms undertake foreign direct investment when the features of a location combine with ownership and internalization advantages to make a location appealing for investment. When each advantage is present, a company will undertake FDI. A location advantage is the advantage of locating a particular economic activity in a specific location because of the characteristics, natural or acquired, of the location. An ownership advantage is the advantage that a company has due to its ownership of some special asset, such as a powerful brand, technical knowledge, or management ability. An internalization advantage is the advantage that arises from internalizing a business activity rather than leaving it to a relatively inefficient market. Market power theory. The market power theory states that a firm tries to establish a dominant market presence in an industry by undertaking foreign direct investment. The benefit of market power is greater profit because the firm is better able to dictate the cost of its input or the price of its output. Companies can gain market power through vertical integration, which is the extension of activities into production that provide a firm's inputs, backward integration, or absorb its output, forward integration. Now fill in the blank by choosing one of the three words: internalization, first mover, life cycle. The correct answer is A, internalization. The eclectic theory says that firms undertake foreign direct investment when location, ownership, and internalization advantages combine to make a location appealing for investment. Let's now examine some of the management issues in the FDI decision. Control. Many companies invest abroad because they wish to control activities in the local market. Example, to ensure that the selling price remains the same across markets. Yet complete ownership does not guarantee control. Partnership requirements. Many companies have strict policies regarding how much ownership they take in firms in other nations. Yet a nation may demand shared ownership in return for market access. Governments may use such requirements to shield workers and industries from exploitation or domination by large multinationals. The benefits of cooperation. Greater harmony exists today between governments and international companies. Developing nations and emerging markets need investment, employment, tax revenues, training, and technology transfers. A country with a reputation for overly restricting the operations of multinationals can see its inward investment dry up. Cooperation can open communication channels to maintain positive relationships in the host country. The purchase of build decision. The purchase of build decision of managers entails deciding whether to purchase an existing business or build a subsidiary abroad from the ground up, called a greenfield investment. An acquiring firm may benefit from the goodwill the existing company has built over the years and perhaps gain recognition of the existing firm. The purchase of an existing business also may allow for alternative methods of financing, such as an exchange of stock ownership. Factors that reduce the appeal of purchasing existing facilities are obsolete equipment, poor labor relations, and an unsuitable location. Adequate facilities are sometimes unavailable, and a company must go ahead with a greenfield investment. Greenfield investments have their own drawbacks. Obtaining the necessary permits and financing and hiring local personnel can be difficult in some markets. Production costs. Labor regulations increase the hourly cost of production, and benefits packages and training programs add to wage costs. Although the cost of land and tax weight on profits can be lower locally, they may not remain constant. One approach companies use to contain production costs is rationalized production. A rationalized production is a production in which components are produced where the cost of production is lowest. The components are brought together at one central location for assembly into the final product. A potential problem is that a work stoppage in one country can halt the entire production process. Mexico's Maquiladora zone along the US-Mexico border has become a model for other regions split by wage or technology gaps. Ethical dilemmas arise over the wage gap between Mexico and the United States and lost US union jobs to Maquiladora non-union jobs. Maquiladoras do not operate under the stringent regulations that firms in the United States do. Cost of research and development. Cost of developing subsequent stages of technology has led to cross-border alliances and acquisitions. One indicator of the significance of technology in foreign direct investment is the amount of R&D conducted by affiliates of parent companies in other countries. FDI and R&D appears to be spurred by supply factors such as access to high-quality scientific and technical human capital. Customer knowledge. The behavior of buyers is an important issue in the decision of whether to undertake FDI. A local presence can give companies valuable knowledge of customers that is unobtainable in the home market. Some countries have quality reputations in certain product categories that make it profitable to produce there. Following clients. FDI puts companies near those firms they supply. Following clients occurs in industries in which component parts are obtained from suppliers with whom a manufacturer has a close working relationship. Following rivals. FDI decisions resemble a follow the leader scenario in industries with a limited number of large firms. Many firms believe that not making a move parallel to that of the first mover might result in being shut out of a lucrative market. Government intervention in FDI. Nations enact laws, create regulations, or construct administrative hurdles for foreign companies. A bias toward protectionism or openness is rooted in a nation's culture, history, and politics. But FDI tend to raise output and enhance standards of living. Besides philosophical ideals, countries intervene in FDI for practical reasons. Balance of payments. A balance of payments is a national accounting system that records all payments to entities in other countries and all receipts coming into the nation. International transactions that result in payments, outflows to entities in other nations are reductions in the balance of payments accounts and recorded with a minus sign. International transactions that result in receipts, inflows from other nations are additions to the balance of payments accounts and recorded with a plus sign. Current account. The current account records transactions involving the import and export of goods and services, income receipts on assets abroad, and income payments on foreign assets inside the country. A current account surplus occurs when a country exports more goods and services and receives more income from abroad than it imports and pays abroad. A current account deficit occurs when a country imports more goods and services and pays more abroad than it exports and receives from abroad. Capital account. The capital account records transactions involving the purchase or sale of assets. These assets include financial assets such as stocks and bonds, and physical assets such as investments in plant and equipment. This table shows the U.S. balance of payment position for one recent year. Payments to entities in other nations are reductions in the balance of payments accounts and recorded with a minus sign. Receipts from other nations are additions to the balance of payments accounts and recorded with a plus sign. Recall what you've heard and try to answer this question. What do you mean by a country's balance of payments, and what is its usefulness? A country's balance of payments is a national accounting system that records all payments to entities in other countries and all receipts coming into the nation. The system helps a country monitor the flows of goods, services, income, and transfer of assets between itself and other nations. The balance of payments position sends warning signals about trade deficits with other nations. Reasons for intervention by the host country. Control balance of payments. Many governments see intervention as the only way to keep the balance of payments under control. Host countries get a balance of payments boost from initial FDI flows. Local content requirements can lower imports, providing an added balance of payments boost. Exports from the FDI can further help the balance of payments position. When companies repatriate profits, they deplete the foreign exchange reserves of their host countries. These capital outflows decrease the balance of payments. Thus, a host nation may prohibit or restrict non-domestic firms from removing profits. But host countries conserve their foreign exchange reserves when international companies reinvest their earnings in local manufacturing facilities. This improves the competitiveness of local producers and boosts the nation's exports, improving its balance of payments position. Host countries also intervene in foreign direct investments to obtain resources and benefits. Access to technology. Nations encourage FDI in technology because it increases productivity and competitiveness. Management skills and employment. FDI allows talented foreign managers to train local managers in how to operate their local facilities. Some of these managers will also go on to establish their own businesses. Reasons for intervention by the home country. There are fewer concerns regarding the outflow of FDI among home nations because they tend to be prosperous, industrialized nations. Reasons for discouraging outward FDI. Investing in other nations sends resources out of the home country and can lessen investment at home. Outgoing FDI may damage a nation's balance of payments by reducing exports otherwise sent to international markets. Jobs resulting from FDI outflows may replace jobs at home. Reasons for promoting outgoing FDI. Outward FDI can increase long-run competitiveness, for example, partnering as a learning opportunity. Nations may encourage FDI in industries that use obsolete technology or employ low-wage workers with few skills. Government policy instruments and FDI. Host promotion methods. One method host countries can use to promote FDI inflows are financial incentives. Host governments commonly offer tax incentives or lower interest loans to attract investment. But incentives can create bidding wars between locations vying for investment. The cost to taxpayers of snaring FDI can be more than what the actual jobs pay. Other methods to promote FDI inflows include infrastructure improvements. Lasting benefits for communities surrounding the investment location can result from local infrastructure improvements, better seaports for containerized shipping, improved roads, and increased telecommunication systems. Host restriction methods. One method host countries can use to restrict FDI inflows are ownership restrictions. Governments impose ownership restrictions that prohibit non-domestic companies from investing in certain industries or owning certain types of business. Another restriction is a requirement that non-domestic investors hold less than a 50% stake in local firms. Nations are eliminating such restrictions because companies can choose another location. Other methods to restrict FDI inflows include performance demands. Some performance demands dictate the portion of a product's content that originates locally, stipulate the portion of output that must be exported, or requires that certain technologies be transferred to local businesses. Home promotion methods. To promote FDI outflows, home nations can offer insurance to cover the risks of investments abroad, grant loans to firms wishing to increase their investments abroad, offer tax breaks on profit earned abroad, or negotiate special tax treaties, apply political pressure on other nations to get them to relax their restrictions on inbound investments. Home restriction methods. To restrict FDI outflows, home countries can impose differential tax rates that charge income from earnings abroad at a higher rate than domestic earnings. Impose sanctions that prohibit domestic firms from making investments in certain nations. Now fill in the blanks by choosing among the words level, lower, boost. The correct answer is boost. A host government may encourage an initial FDI because the inflow can boost its balance of payments position. This chapter presents foreign direct investment. Like trade decisions, many factors influence a company's decision about whether to invest in markets abroad. Depending on the philosophy of home or host nations and the impact of foreign direct investment on their economic health, a firm can be encouraged or dissuaded to invest in a nation.